Alright guys, I'm just out riding and welcome back to the second part of the electric mini bike build jobby. So, one of the main issues that I came up with is the fact that the drill will always need to be spinning while the back wheel is spinning. Because the guy that I took inspiration from that did this was on a bicycle. However, we're not. So I got this. This is a bicycle tyre and wheel, but more importantly, there is a flywheel device. What this means is, if you don't know, is that the sprocket can spin one way freely, but not the other without turning the wheel. And it's going to be crucial in meaning that the drill doesn't always have to spin. Now there's a few complications with this, which I'm going to run through, but I will now show you the rough plan with the bikes and some drawings. Okay, so here we have the mini bike, and here we have the bicycle that we're sort of dismantling. The issue is that the sprocket on the flywheel matches this chain from the bicycle, funnily enough. It does not match up with the sprocket size that is already on the mini bike wheel, which means we're going to have to do a full sprocket swap over. To increase the low down power of the drill so we can get moving, front sprocket on the bicycle I'm going to use as the back sprocket of the mini bike, and the back sprocket of the bicycle I'm going to use as the front sprocket of the mini bike. So some more information about the flywheel mechanism. As you can see, it spins one way and doesn't spin the other. Now this axle in the middle spins completely independently of the whole mechanism, which for us is an issue because we're going to attach this bit of the wheel like it's a drill attachment, so the drill will just screw onto this. That means that when we spin this, we need the wheel to spin, which is why on this side we need to weld these two bits together all the way around, so that when this spins, the whole wheel actually spins instead. Hopefully Dad can manage to weld this without too much trouble, but we'll see how that goes. I need to take out all the spokes and sort that out. And now if we have a quick look at the diagram, this is meant to be a drill, not a bent over sexual object. Here is the back axle, which is currently the front sprocket of the bicycle, and here is the flywheel device, which will be welded up. It's going to be held at both sides, much like the back wheel is by the swing arm, but the front will be held on with two brackets. The drill will be clamped on, which means when we spin the drill, it will force the sprocket to go round and power the back wheel, but once the drill stops, the flywheel will kick in and let the bike carry on rolling without the drill moving. Okay, a fantastic plan, but will it work? First jobs are to take the back wheel off the pit bike, mini bike, the sprocket off the bicycle, and take this centre flywheel off of the bicycle wheel. Okay, so I have the mini bike propped up on a bit of a bucket, so the back wheel is free to spin, ready to take off the back wheel, which I'll do slightly later. The next thing I've done is I've taken off the tyre off of the wheel, I've taken off the inner tube, and there's this sort of rubber band that goes around the wheel to protect the inner tube from the spokes. So I've removed one spoke. It's going to be a bit of a long job, I think. Okay, so here we have a spoke. What happens is on these spokes is you have this hook bit which will hook into the centre flywheel hub. The other end of the spoke is threaded here with this really small thread and this little cap. So the spoke threads through the wheel, and this little cap is placed on the other side of the wheel, so you can imagine that the wheel would be in between these two like this. You then, to tighten the spoke, you then tighten these caps, which will pull the spokes further and further away from the centre hub. Okay, so now I've got to do the rest of the ones all around the hub, which is going to take a little while. I think I'll have to do them sort of like diagonally or something, not just straight the way around, otherwise it will mess it up. So as you can see, there's a few spokes on the floor. A pile over there, there's a whole bunch of the caps. There's my little pile of all the caps. However, the spokes are getting really hard to take out. The ones that were easier to take out have gone. So I've got a new way of removing the spokes. I do not endorse this way of crappy workmanship in the slightest, but it's a bloody great way to get it done, I tell you that. Keep your distance, shut your eyes, protect your hand. Woo! The caps on the end are literally stiffer than a pedo in a nursery, so every time I try and undo them, they end up just, the thread disappears. This way's much more fun anyway. Okay, so the middle's been taken out, and I'm left with kind of the flywheel, but a bunch of the spokes I can't get off due to the cog being in the way. So what I'm going to do is undo the bolt here, and hopefully that will mean I can remove these spokes easily. Many apologies for that horrendous lighting I managed to achieve in that last clip. These spokes are really getting in the way, being an absolute nuisance. There we go. Okay, so hopefully once I've undone this, the cog should just slip off. The chances of that being as easy as that are pretty slim. Here's the ball bearing inside. That's pretty damn cool. Okay, that doesn't look like it's done what I wanted it to do. Who on earth designed this? I'm sure there's a simple way to get these out, but I don't know what it is. Okay, so we have the flywheel mechanism. I managed to get all the spokes off this end by bending them, which was extremely difficult. So all the spokes have ended up looking like this, where I've had to bend them round the bottom to get them out. I couldn't find any other way. I'm sure there was a better way, but it's done now. One job now is to secure this middle post, which will be connected to the drill, to the main hub, and then only having the sprocket go around on its own. So I need to secure this silver hub to the bolt type thing. As you can see, this is hollow, and the axle sort of goes through it. So what I'm probably going to try and do is put 2-part resin all in here and down the tube, so then when it's set they'll be joined together. Next job will be to take this mini wheel off. It's barely even done up. Done. Oh. I'm not sure if this is doing what I want it to do, but it appears I can undo something or another, like so. Okay, well, something came off. Dad has made progress.
Reverse thread.
Reverse thread, the famous. Oh, there's a big bearing in there as well. Nice one. Completely covering up the shot. There we go. Removed. Okay, so after looking at parts of the hub and axle for the flywheel, I realised that welding is going to be pretty difficult because the metal I was going to weld is really thin. So what I've got is JB Weld. What I'm going to do is just mix up this resin, layer the inside and the bearings up with it, and tie it all together and hope that it's strong enough to spin the hub when I spin the axle. Bit of splurge. We've got a block. We have a blockage. Now for some of the white splurge. Oh, so much smoother. I'm also using a spoke as a mixer. Okay, now we have our JB Weld mix. I'm gonna lather up every crevasse and hopefully make it stick. The point of no return. RIP to the ball bearing. He has been cemented. The money shot. This shot's worth a lot of money in the biz. Time for the insertion. I've got high hopes for this. I can already feel it getting into work. I'm going to leave this overnight, and hopefully by the morning we're going to have the flywheel of my dreams. So one more thing is, I've got the original sprocket from the mini bike and the BMX sprocket. Another job is to line this up correctly. I'm going to make sure to make this extremely accurate. Drill holes into the BMX sprocket and also widen the hole of the BMX sprocket so it's the same size as the one from the pit bike. And then I'll be able to attach this sprocket onto the wheel. Okay, so what I've done, using the old sprocket, I've measured the distance from the outside and marked these 3 holes, which are where the bolts will go in. There's some bits of metal that are still in the way, so I've highlighted those with highlighter, so I need to file them off now. And once that's done, this should fit onto the wheel. Should fit on there. And these 3 bolts should all line up with these 3. Okay, so I've filed the sprocket hole down, kind of neatened up a bit, and hopefully it should now fit on the wheel. There we go. Pretty nice fit actually. It's a little bit off, but it's kind of to be expected considering we burnt through it. So now we have a huge sprocket on the wheel, ready for the chain. Time to drill through for the bolts that will go through into the wheel. 1 down, 2 to go. Okay, it is extremely likely that these holes will not line up perfectly. They look pretty good to me. I'll try to put the bolts in, but I might have to file them down a bit. We have the huge stunt sprocket looking thing on this. We have the chain. I put like the most ghetto split link you've ever seen, which hopefully will hold out just for this test. And then the flywheel is there. What I'm going to try now do, just as a proof of concept, is put the back wheel on the bike and hold the drill and use this to spin it round, spin the back wheel, just as a proof of concept. And then next video we'll have a moving bike. So we've got to remember, this is a complete proof of concept. The chain won't be tight enough, it's not angled correctly, but the back wheel should spin, this should spin, and when I let off the throttle from the drill, when I release the button, the wheel should be able to carry on spinning whilst the drill has stopped. Let's hope. Okay, so I've got to try and position this as best as possible. It's probably going to skip off. I'll try and get it as close as possible. Okay, I can feel the chain skipping. Woohoo! Yes! That is mental. Okay. As you can see, when I let off the wheel, let off the power, the wheel carries on spinning. Now, I don't know how much power's in that wheel. Woo-hoo-hoo! Okay, well. So I don't know how much power's in that wheel. I don't know if it's going to be enough to move me, but it looks pretty good, and I reckon one way or another we're going to get this thing to move. Now, there is some bad news. It's currently the last day before I go back to uni. And when I'm back at uni, I can't work on this. I don't get back for another 2 months. So there's going to be there's going to be a bit of a wait, basically, until I can see if this actually works as fully intended. But the proof is there. What we've done so far has worked fully to the highest extent. I'm excited. I think it will work. Make sure to like and comment, subscribe. While I'm back down in Cornwall at uni, I'll try and make some cool videos, hopefully some stuff by the sea. I'll be dreaming of this build though. Thanks for watching. Ta-da.